Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman. In today's video, I'm going to answer one of our God ordained spouse question she sent in via our God ordained marriage website. So let's jump into her question. Hello, Tequila. I would like some advice as you are always honest and direct. I have been separated from my future God ordained spouse for 11 months as he chose a counterfeit over me. He mistreated me for her, and God told me to leave, so I did. During this separation, I gotten closer to God, and in my growth, I distanced myself from certain friends and places. While this is a good thing, it is also hard in that I am a loner. And as I did not tell anyone about my marriage promise, I sometimes feel like I'm suffering in silence when I hurt over him and the counterfeit and just the separation overall. It also does not help that my God ordained spouse seems to be having a time of his life with friends and the counterfeit. My future spouse elevates her quite a bit and treats her as if she is the chosen one. He also does many things with her that he promised me but never followed through on. I know because I used to peep at his friends' social media, but stopped after how seeing the pictures and videos affected me. I'm not saying that he can't have fun and live his life, but it almost appears as if he is unbothered about the separation or the cause or the pain caused to me. Despite all of this, God has been giving me confirmation about his promise and also revealed to me that the counterfeit has been doing witchcraft on both him and I, which is an added twist. I'm not sure if this could be the reason why he is elevating her the way he is. My question is, how do I avoid being bothered by my future spouse, nonchalant to me and our situation? Thank you so very much. All right. So thank you for sending in your question. You were saying how you're not sure if the witchcraft, that the counterfeit is doing on you and your spouse is, could that be the reason why he's elevating the counterfeit? Here's the thing. It can play a role in him elevating the counterfeit, okay? Because when these counterfeit, when the witches, when they put certain spells on our spouses, like a love spell, it draws them near the counterfeit, right? And it have your spouse seeing you in a negative light, seeing you all wrong, seeing you all bad, right? So it can play a part in it. However, the reason why your God ordained prodigal spouse is highlighting or elevating, highly esteeming this counterfeit over you is because this is where he's at in life. This is what he highly esteemed. This is his definition of beautiful. This is what, you know, this is, the woman, he see himself with. Okay. Now I know that don't sound too good to hear, but I'm giving you honesty and truth here. Okay. But this is where he's at. He think he's winning with this counterfeit. So he's elevating her. He's highly esteeming her. Some of these prodigals, they worship these counterfeits, but don't worry about that. Okay. Don't even worry about that. Don't worry about the fact that he's elevating her. You continue to remember what God said. God said you are the chosen one. Okay. So you got to continue to remind yourself, I am the chosen one. I am the God ordained spouse. I know my value. I know my worth. And because I know my worth, I'm not about to sit here and give my time and attention to a prodigal who clearly cannot see my value. Okay. Now, when we talk about how do I avoid being bothered by my future spouse's nonchalant to me and our situation, you don't want to avoid it. You want to face it full on. Okay. You want to face what's bothering you, because if I avoid it, I'm just going to suppress how I'm feeling and it's going to come up at a later date. So I want to face it head on. Now, here's how we get over, okay, these prodigal situations. This is how you begin to really get down to, just how do I heal from this, okay? Number one, who is your prodigal spouse? Who is your prodigal spouse? Now, I don't want you to write down, oh, he's a great guy, he's a gentleman, he is a great father. I don't want you to write all those things down. Okay. No, when we talk about who is your prodigal spouse, I want you to write down the things that he is showing you. Okay. Because that's the real person. Okay. That's the real person. Whoever he's showing you to be, That's your prodigal spouse. So your prodigal is someone who mistreat people, right? He mistreated you for a counterfeit. So this is the type of individual he is, right? He's the type who would mistreat individuals because he highly esteems this person more. Now that is a character flaw. That is also brokenness going on inside of him, because you don't have to mistreat a person just because I want to be with this individual. I can simply say, listen, I think you're a great woman, romantic interest, romantic relationship is not my focus right now. I would love to stay your friend, right? He could simply end things with you and go over there and be with the counterfeit, but yet he chose to mistreat you. So that tells you a lot about who he is as a person and where he's at in life. Okay, so your prodigal is someone who mistreat individual. He mistreat good people. He mistreat people, who love and respect him, and who is there for all the right reason for a counterfeit. Okay. Another thing, your prodigal is someone who makes broken promises. Your prodigal doesn't believe in keeping his own word. So he is not a man after his own word. He can't keep his word, right? Well, I shouldn't say he can't keep his word, but he doesn't keep his word with you. Okay, so your prodigal is someone who doesn't keep his word. He make broken promises. Therefore, I cannot listen to nothing else that come out of my prodigal mouth, right? Until I see correction happening, from God. Your prodigal is someone who tell women what they want to hear in the moment, right? With no intentions on following through, because this is exactly what he's been showing you, right? This is who your prodigal spouse is. And I got to say it this way to you, and not just to you, but everyone else tuning in, because when we hear God say that's your spouse, oh, we love it, right? Because we looking at the end goal. We're like, oh, that's my husband. Oh, that's my wife, and they show us the good parts of them. We, after so long as you've been in a relationship with your spouse, in friendship or whatever, you get to see the good parts of them, but then you also see the bad parts of them. And our mind tends to want to hold on to the good parts, right? We tend to want to hold on to the time when your spouse took you out on a date and, paid for the date, and, y'all had a good time that day. But we tend to overlook all this other stuff the prodigals are showing you, right? How they mistreat you, how they, don't even follow through on their own word, how they won't even give you the time of the day. They won't even give you a chance. They give everybody else a chance, but not you, right? This is why I'm highlighting this, because I need you to take a look at who is your prodigal spouse. What exactly are you dealing with here? Because when I know what I'm dealing with, I don't got to hurt over this, because I know what I deserve and don't deserve. I'm not giving my time or attention or even my energy to a prodigal. Yes, I'll be obedient to the instructions of the Lord. When God tells me to pray for my prodigal, yes, I'll do that. But outside of that, when I'm done praying, I'm keeping it moving. I'm no longer hurting over no prodigal. I'm no longer, sitting in the house crying, and moping around and sad and depressed. No, I'm going to deal with those emotions, and I'm going to keep my life moving to the next level. Okay. But who is your prodigal? Like I said, your prodigal is someone who mistreat people for the one they want. Your prodigal is someone who make broken promises. He don't keep his word. He tell women what they want to hear in a moment with no intentions on following through. Your prodigal is someone who could care less about your feelings. Your prodigal is someone who is willing to let go and destroy your friendship for a counterfeit. Don't even care about the relationship. They're willing to just let it all go for this. That's who you're dealing with. Your prodigal, did I say counterfeit? Yeah. Your prodigal is someone who chooses witches to be with. So that tells you right there, your prodigal doesn't even know how to identify a wife. Your prodigal only knows how to choose witches. Okay. So again, I'm breaking this down this way because a lot of you are hurting over your prodigal. And yes, it does hurt. It does hurt when God has revealed to us this is our spouse and they show up this way. But we gotta begin to take this hurt and pain and say, you know what? It stops today. I'm no longer hurting over you. I'm no longer hurting over a prodigal, because I understand a prodigal doesn't deserve my heart. It deserves my prayers, right? But you don't deserve my heart, not for it to be hurting, right? No, I'm gonna save that. I'm keeping this energy to myself. And I'm making the decision today to no longer hurt over this. because I'm going to go ahead and move into a level of healing. I'm about to get over this. I'm about to get over this mistreatment. I'm about to start highly esteeming myself. I'm not going to wait for you to highly esteem me. I'm not going to wait for you to choose me. I'm choosing myself today. That's the energy we have to move into, okay? So who is your prodigal spouse? Because that's not the spouse who God chose for you. God chose the spouse who is all loving, who identifies you as their wife. God chose the spouse who would be a faithful husband, a loving man. He will live with his wife in an understanding way. He is loyal. He is submitted up under God. That's the spouse who God chose for you. He will support you. He will highly esteem you. That's the spouse who God chose for you, not this prodigal. Okay? You get that prodigal over to the Lord and you continue to stand, move into healing and heal your heart and, release that prodigal from your heart because they don't deserve you. Like, think about it. Prodigals don't deserve, all the time you spend, and I'm not saying you, but all the time, you spend crying, sad, hoping and wishing. They don't deserve that. They don't deserve it. Okay? So gone are the days of allowing a prodigal to bother you. We about to be unbothered. Okay? We're moving forward. Okay? We're no longer hurting over prodigals. We're moving forward in the promise. Okay? And we're releasing these prodigals to the Lord. We're picking up our life and we are improving our life. Okay? We're no longer putting our life on hold for a prodigal. They living their best life. It's time for us to live our best life, okay? And I'm joking here, okay? Because prodigals really, there is no such thing as living your best life when you're a prodigal, okay? We already know that, okay? Just read the story of the prodigal son. But, we got to begin to move forward from here, okay? Another thing, you said he mistreated you for a counterfeit. So how did your prodigal spouse specifically mistreat you? I want you to write this down for yourself. How did your prodigal spouse specifically mistreat you? What were the specific things that were done that caused you to feel mistreated by your prodigal spouse? Write it down. What were the things that was said that hurt your feelings? Write that down. Okay. I also want you to ask yourself, how did I respond to the mistreatment? How did you show up? How did you respond? Did you accept it? Did you go along with the mistreatment? Did you tolerate it? Did you overlook it? How did you respond to the mistreatment? How did it make you feel? What would you do if your prodigal was to come back and mistreat you all over again? What would you do? See, when I know better, I do better, right? I can't change what happened in the past. I can't change how my prodigal mistreated me in the past, but you know what I can do? I can make sure that in my future, it never happened again from this particular person because I'm learning from it. I'm growing from it. I'm understanding why if I sat there and tolerated, I'm understanding why I sat there and tolerated. And now because I got understanding, I'm no longer tolerating this. I'm putting boundaries in place. I'm raising my standards. I know my worth now. I'm not tolerating this mistreatment. Now, the last thing I want to say is that, well, this is not the last thing, but I also want to say when we talk about mistreatment, so however way your prodigal mistreated you, now you have to treat yourself better in that particular area. So if your prodigal, if they say hurtful words to you, it's time for you to affirm yourself. If they overlooked you and chose the counterfeit, it's time for you to choose yourself. Ask yourself, what areas of my life or what about me am I overlooking? Begin to choose yourself. Okay, this is how we deal with and overcome resentment, overcome mistreatment. If I was mistreated, okay, now I got to treat myself better. That's how I heal that wound, by giving myself what I didn't get from the prodigal. Okay. And also, here's the last thing. Know that, okay, because your prodigal, like how you said, he's highly esteeming, he's elevating this counterfeit. All right. Understand your Heavenly Father highly esteems you. Understand your Heavenly Father see exactly what is going on. God is who bring one down and elevate the other. God is going to promote you right in front of the very person who rejected you. So get ready for your elevation, okay? Because it's coming, all right? So like I said, gone are the days where we are, just sitting at home hurting over these prodigals. Okay, no, we picking our life back up. We moving into healing. We getting better. We improving our lives. We elevating to the next level. Okay, we still going forward in this promise. Release your prodigal to the Lord. The Lord will deal with your prodigal. And when it's time, God will send your prodigal back right. They will come back identifying you as their wife. Okay? They will come back knowing exactly how to treat you. But in the meantime, go ahead and release them. Release them from your heart. Continue to pray for them, but release the hurt and pain from your heart. No longer are we going to continue to be bothered by what happened in the past. It's time to move into healing. Okay? So that is my advice. I am Tequila Coleman. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care.